Mike's Daily Podcast?
It has been a while, my friend. Yes, and
Mike's Daily Podcast.
It's been a week. I'm tired. It's bleak. This podcast is very unique. This is episode 2520. And I got plenty of stuff to cover on the podcast, but we'll make it kind of short. But you'll want it to last forever. At Cafe Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Somewhere in Podcastro Valley. The last place on earth. So,
Mike's
I spend
Daily
several nights last week.
Podcast.
3 of them, as a matter of fact.
Yeah!
Teaching someone, training them, basically. I am their manager, and I'm also training them on how to do a particular job that I hired them to do. Why it's me training them, I don't know. So I'm spending all this time training them, and then I find out today that they won't be able to do the job I trained them for the next 2 weeks. Oh, and they need more training. So, not very happy today. Then I got up super early, went to bed super late. I am so tired. I think I over-caffeinated myself yesterday, as in I drank too much coffee, and I think it messed up my stomach. I might even have an ulcer. I'm not sure, but there's a guy that already is taking tomorrow off, so I have to be in for them. And then I have some other employees that may or may not be employees anymore. They show up whenever they want. They got other things going on. So it's just not the best day for episode 2520. And but I thank you for listening to the podcast here.
And here's today's podcast picture.
I think we'll go with something interesting. How about that? Something recent. See it at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Yeah, I don't quite understand. It's too much falls on me, basically. I'm sort of the stopgap for a bunch of stuff, and I don't have the patience, and I don't have the health for it anymore. I'm going to be 54 in less than 2 weeks. So I guess I don't know if this is exactly what I want to keep doing. The late great Basil the Boxer. Yes. If I still had Basil, if he were still alive, I would have no time for him because this job takes all my time and I'm a stopgap. By the way, I'd like to take a quick moment and wish angel's wings to a wonderful cat who unfortunately passed away just a few days ago. Not one of mine, but a friend of mine's cat named Jesse. And he was a really great cat and had lived 15 years, a nice long life, and he's died. So I feel bad for the owners. One of them is having a birthday soon, and it's just, oh, what a year. What a year.
What in the world was that about?
Oh, and then I paid for earthquake insurance last week because it came up due, and I found out from a couple of guys who are lifelong Bay Area people saying, oh, you don't need it. No, because when there's an earthquake, chances are it's going to do damage that won't fall under the earthquake damage report, and you're going to also have issues in trying to get the money back because there's a certain percentage that they pay.
Baloney.
And the deductible is huge. It's something like $90,000. So you're better off without it. I found that out today. You want to know what else I found out? Because I found out a bunch of stuff. Men are lonely. Yeah. Men are lonely. A YouGov poll in 2019 concluded that 1 in 5 men have no close friends. That's twice as many as women. In 2021, the Survey Center on American Life found that since 1995, the number of American men reporting that they had no close friends jumped from 3% to 15%. In the same research, the number of men saying they had at least 6 close friends halved from 55% to 27%. Why do men struggle to maintain friendships? Women, oh my gosh. Every girlfriend I ever had oodles of friends. A major study by scientists at Brigham Young University in the U.S. found that long-term social isolation can increase a person's risk of premature death by as much as 32%. Some have called it the shadow pandemic. It was brought into focus during the COVID-19 lockdown, when all of us were isolated and friendships became a hot research topic again, but it had spread around the world long before the coronavirus had. So, what makes the difference for a man is in investing time on doing something together. It might be meeting up for a pint or arranging to climb a mountain together. It's not easy, and keep that in mind if you are a man or if you know a man. Because males are socially lazy, what tends to happen is the wife ends up driving the social environment for the household. Middle age is a tricky territory. At this stage of life, guys might drop out of the five-a-side team, or family commitments keep them from the after-work drinks or the hobbies they once had more time for. They may have fewer peers in the workplace, and friends they see on a regular basis may not be particularly close ones. So, there's also this whole thing about the internet, and people don't meet in person anymore. So, make sure to, if you're a guy, to try and cultivate friendships. That came from BBC Science Focus by Ian Taylor. And another interesting thing I heard about was your metabolism. How food powers your body. Oh boy, I don't have much of the way of any power today. Metabolism, which unleashes the energy in what you eat, may be nature's most electrifying invention. Fire isn't merely a metaphor for metabolism. In the 18th century, the French chemist Antoine Laurent de Lavoisier conducted a series of ingenious experiments to prove that our life force was fire. Fire. As we go outside a cafe anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valleyton, the last place on earth. First, he figured out what air was made of. He then, through precise measurements, showed that fire removed oxygen from the air and deposited it in the form of rust. Later, he made a device in which packed ice surrounded a compartment that could be filled with either a lighted flame or a small animal. By measuring how much ice melted, he could relate the energy burned by the flame to what burned by the creature. He even created a respirometer, an apparatus of tubes and gauges that measured a person's precise oxygen consumption as they took on various tasks. He concluded that respiration is nothing but a slow combustion of carbon and hydrogen, similar in all respects to that of a lamp or a lighted candle. Both flames and living beings exchange energy and gases in what's known as combustion reaction. In fire, this reaction runs fast and out of control. Energy is ripped from fuel with violent abandon, and nearly all of it is released immediately as light and heat. But life is more methodical. Cells pluck energy from their fuel with exquisite control, directing every last drop toward their own minute purposes. Although almost nothing is wasted. Isn't that fascinating? That from The New Yorker by James Summers. So appreciate your metabolism. And a lot goes into it. Finally, I got this email from my friend Winky, my late mom's friend Winky, who sends me emails that she used to send to my mom, sent me this picture of the Flintstones in bed together. That would be Wilma and Fred. And it says, the Flintstones, which originally aired in 1960, was the first television program, animated or otherwise, to show a married couple sharing the same bed. The very first in 1960. Before that, they never showed a man and a woman in bed together on television. But they had to animate them. Animate cavemen and women with their little home sweet home sign above their bed. And wasn't the what do you call it? The headrest or the bed, the back of the bed was a rock? Because everything was a rock in Flintstones. Thus the name Flintstones. And that is... Oh, we'll get to that in a moment. But we're outside a cafe anyway. We're going to get to the Mike... Let's go back with Matthews is what we're going to do. But first, let's say hi to some people. Hi, Mike. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. Hell yeah. How you doing? It's a Disgruntled Fiddle Player. What? I'm a Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and I'm also disgruntled because there was no red wave, except for in Florida. Yeah. Where the last president lives, there was a red wave there and almost a flooding wave because of the hurricane. But the former president didn't want to leave Mar-a-Lago. So, yeah. I guess that's going to happen sometimes. Yeah, I think it's all rigged. All the votes, they were mail-in, so they're all frauds. Frogs? Frauds. I don't get it. The votes turned into little frogs? Yeah, okay. Look who else is here. Hello, Mike. I make the delicious root beer. I'm a Stopgap. Do you have Stopgap root beer? Yeah, drink it right now. I'll kill you. So good. Yes. I'll kill you. All right. My birthday's coming up. Don't say things like that. All right, here we go. We're going to go back in time. I found this from the early... This is going to be interesting. All right, let's see. You want to hear a voice from the past? When I heard this, it kind of freaked me out. Hang on a second. Let's see. Here, hopefully this works.
Message, press 1. To save it, press 2. To erase. Sent October 7th at 3:12 p.m.
And by the way, this is October 7th, probably 1996. I'm pretty sure it was 96.
Hi, Mike. It's Julie. It's 3:20. I just got home from work. My mom told me you called. I'm going to be over at Laura's in a little bit. So if you want to call me there later, you can. It's 653-5245. Okay? Bye.
That was an ex. A very disengaged ex. At that point in the relationship, things weren't going so well. So she was going over to her friend Laura's. Laura, short for Laura. Yeah, I remember watching at Laura's house, Reality Bites. That's what I remember about Laura. And I think did she work at a coffee place? I know that ex-girlfriend worked at a coffee place. I hope all is well with her. I also heard this. I wonder
After Theater, I want to miss it.
It's 3 almost.
Let's see.
8 p.m.
Your father called you. I would like to talk to you sometime if you would give me a call. Thank you.
Wow. When you hear your late
End of
father's...
message. To repeat the message, press 1. To save it, press 2. Message saved.
When you hear your dad's voice from years ago, it's very chilling. You know, movie stars that had movie star dads. Actually, Dad was kind of a movie star in his own way because he starred in a couple of movies. If you see Continental Divide, he's got a part in there. And a couple other movies. But that, just to hear his voice, I heard that. I had it on a cassette. And it just chilled me. Also, it gave me chills. Also, I heard this voice.
For 14.
Called to tell you, as ironic as this sounds, in an upcoming episode of The Marshal, I'm going to be playing a DJ. I don't have the date it's going to be telecast yet, but I'll let you know in due time to watch. So I hope you're having a pleasant week. And yes, I already talked to the receptionist. She is a very kind human being.
That's Tim Riley. And that was from 1990. Okay, maybe this recording was a year earlier, in 1995. But Do you remember that show called The Marshal? It had that guy, I think that guy had been in the Lawnmower Man movie, that Stephen King movie. And one more.
Just
here.
right. Thanks. Bye.
Days. Next message.
Okay, this voice is someone who was pretty important in my life.
Matt, thanks for doing the promo on Clay Walker. It sounds real good. Do like it. Just right. Thanks. Bye.
That is the voice of Mark Hill, who is no longer with us, but he was my boss for 11 years and really had faith in me in the early days of my radio career. I worked at K-Hay, all that stuff you hear me. I'll next podcast, maybe I'll have some K-Hay stuff, but yes, it was all because of him that I was able to do the Santa Fe Cafe, and he got me started with that. So some very memorable voices. And this guy, I have no idea to this day who this was. Wow. Some fun stuff I found on cassettes. All right, now, the segment called The Mike Matthews New Tunes Feud. We're going to play 2 songs. You tell me which ones you like better. We're going to play this one from an artist you may have heard of named Taylor Swift, but this is a special Jada G remix of this song.
It's me on the hill, too big to hang out, slowly lurching toward your favorite city. Pierced through the heart but never killed. Did you hear my covert narcissist?
Okay, yes, Taylor's very big once again with that song. So do you like that song, or do you like this one from Maraschino, La Maraschino, and this song is called High Desire. Let's listen to this here. All right, which one do you like better? 336MM Daily, 3 plus 3 equals 6. MM as in Mike Matthews, Daily as in what this podcast will try to be if I don't go completely crazy first. But yes, do you like the Taylor Swift or do you like the Maraschino? Do you want to go with a big, well-known name or a slightly more obscure name? Call me 336MM Daily. And for more ways to reach me, it is A-Frame.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!